Good morning, I'm J. Lenore Bressler, and welcome to the May 2nd, 2022 edition of the Bible, Delight in the Details. I'm going to read you a passage of the Bible, and I want you to try to guess where it's coming from. Some went out on the sea in ships. They were merchants on the mighty waters. They saw the works of the Lord, his wonderful deeds in the deep. For he spoke and stirred up a tempest that lifted high the waves. They mounted up to the heavens and went down to the depths. And in their peril, their courage melted away. They reeled and staggered like drunkards. They were at their wits' end. Then they cried out to the Lord in their trouble, and he brought them out of their distress. He stilled the storm to a whisper. The waves of the sea were hushed. They were glad when it grew calm, and he guided them to their desired haven. Sound familiar? Did you think I was reading from one of the Gospels about Jesus calming the sea? You know the story. The disciples and Jesus were out on the Sea of Galilee. Jesus had been teaching. He was exhausted. He was lying asleep in the stern of the boat when a very vicious, fierce storm arose, that even these experienced fishermen who were accustomed to the whims of the Sea of Galilee, they were frightened to death. In fact, they woke him up, obviously a little bit annoyed, and said, "Do you not care that we're about to perish?" And Jesus got up and said, "Peace, be still." And suddenly, instantly, the waves hushed and the winds calmed. And now the men were even more afraid, because now they had to deal with this question: just who is this man that even the waves obey him? Now, if you think that I was reading originally one of those gospel messages, you're wrong. I was reading from Psalm 107. Now, you're probably familiar with the beginning of Psalm 107. Give thanks to the Lord, for he is good. His love endures forever. This is fascinating because 1,000 years before Jesus calmed the sea on the Sea of Galilee, this statement, this narrative was presented under the influence of the Holy Spirit and became part of the hymn book of ancient Israel. When Jesus looked at those scared disciples and asked, "Where is your faith?" I'm sure he was thinking about these verses from Psalm 107, verses that these men would have been very familiar with as good Orthodox Jewish men. They had sung these many times and spoken them and heard them in the synagogue. And yet, when they actually experienced them, they didn't even remember. They didn't realize. I don't know about you, but I was never aware of Psalm 107 having that passage in it. And our pastor was explaining that to us just yesterday, which shows you that you can always learn interesting things in church. And but it made me think about something. You know, how many times do we say God will be faithful, God is great, God has a plan, all of those things, and we truly believe it. But then when we're living it, we forget. It doesn't feel as real. It doesn't ring true. And yet it should. Let us not grieve Jesus the way his disciples grieved him by knowing the truth, but then not experiencing it, not having the faith in him that he so clearly deserves. I'm J. Lenore Bressler. Visit me on the next edition of the Bible, Delight in the Details. Have a great day.